Russia has a long, mysterious, and almost secretive history, especially to people living in the West. Sometimes, the lines between truth and fiction from this fascinating part of the world becomes a little blurred, but that just heightens the appeal and our curiosity. So today, we count down the top 4 mysterious events that took place in Russia. Number 4. The Black Volga. Although the tale of the Black Volga is not limited to Russia, many of the sightings were from Eastern Europe and the old Soviet bloc. The legend appeared to gain momentum during the Cold War and was at its height in the 1970s. The car was connected with people who suddenly vanished or even died. According to the stories, children were particularly vulnerable and were targeted. Many theories exist to explain who or what was behind the Black Volga. In one, the devil was driving the car. In another, the Black Volga was part of a top-secret government kidnapping scheme. The reasons for the kidnapping included stories about young females who were raped to provide pleasure to military personnel and tales of a government organ harvesting project. The mysterious vehicle, which was a top-of-the-line limousine, was a stranded vehicle used by prominent politicians at the time, but it has not been sighted in recent years. Number 3. The Cosmonaut Recording. Although the recordings made by the Judica Cordiglia brothers were revealed in the early 1960s, one particular recording has recently surfaced on the internet. Supposedly, this recording captured the last moments of the true first woman in space. These sounds were recorded on May the 23rd, 1961, 7 days after the Russians had sent the unknown cosmonaut into space. At least, that's what the brothers claimed. The woman's mission was to orbit the Earth 17 times. The recording allegedly captured the final moments of the terrified cosmonaut's life during re-entry. She can be heard complaining of the rising temperature and asking if she is going to crash. This was just one of the 9 recordings made and released by the brothers. These recordings formed the backbone of the Lost Cosmonauts conspiracy, in which it is alleged that many cosmonauts were sacrificed as the Russians tried to beat the US in the space race. The Russians have always firmly denied this, but conspiracy theorists point to a story from TASS on May 26, 1961, stating that an unnamed satellite had crashed on Earth. Supposedly, this was the cover-up that blotted out the female cosmonaut's existence and kept the Russians clear of her alleged death. Of course, the Russians have had their share of acknowledged space disasters. The most notable one occurred on 24th of October 1960, when an R-16 ballistic missile exploded on the launch pad, killing 126 people. Take a listen to the recording of the final moments of this terrified cosmonaut. Number 2. The UVB-76 transmission. First noticed in Moscow in 1982, the UVB-76 transmission, also known as the buzzer, appeared to be a secret Russian military code that was picked up all over Europe. Originally, the transmission was simply a series of beeps. After several years, the beeps became buzzes that were occasionally interrupted by a series of numbers and Russian names. Things became even stranger in June of 2010. Without warning, the buzzer simply stopped broadcasting. However, it began again 24 hours later and continued as before. This also happened in August 2010, but after a day of silence, the transmissions returned with some truly strange sounds. Loud bangs and shuffling noises could be heard as if someone was moving around the room. A male voice also spoke a series of letters, numbers, and names. On one occasion, a partial two-way conversation was briefly heard. People have investigated to determine the origin of the broadcast. Most believe that the broadcast came from a small village in Russia named Pavarova. A military bunker was discovered there, although it appeared to have been abandoned long ago. Take a listen to the buzzer.
76, УЗП 76, 93, 882, на имена 74, 14, 35, 74, девятка, тройка, восьмерка, восьмерка, двойка, Николай, Анна, Иван, Михаил, Иван, Николай, Анна, семерка, четверка, единица, четверка, тройка, пятерка, семерка, четверка.
Number 1. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. One of the most chilling events in Russian history unfolded in the Ural Mountains in 1959. It resulted in the deaths of 9 experienced hikers, an air of mystery over the case, and a lot of theories about what really happened. The hikers had set off in late January 1959. On February the 1st, they became lost as the weather deteriorated into a violent blizzard. It is thought that they ended up on a mountain known to local tribes as Dead Mountain, but everything after this was pure speculation. Almost 3 weeks passed before an official search party was sent to find the hikers. On February the 26th, the first in a series of grim discoveries was made. The hikers' tent looked as though it had been cut from the inside, as if the hikers had been trying to get out of the tent for safety. There were footprints outside the tent, but they came to a sudden halt. No bodies were found there, just snow. The first group of hikers were discovered a short distance from the place where the footsteps stopped. None of the men were fully clothed. In fact, some of them were nearly naked. It was several months before the other 4 members of the hiking team were discovered. On May the 4th, they were found in a ravine under several feet of snow. Although these last 4 hikers were fully clothed and appeared to have frozen to death, their injuries were found to be mysterious and unsettling. All of them had internal damage that was more consistent with accidents in a high-speed vehicle. However, the official verdict for all 9 hikers was death due to the extreme elements. Many conspiracy theories exist about the events of that night in 1959. Some claim that it was alien activity, while others believe that the Soviet military was testing new weapons in this area. Mysterious lights and flashes were reportedly seen on the evening of February the 1st, which would make either of these theories somewhat plausible. The initial claims that the hikers had been caught in an avalanche were mostly dismissed when no evidence of an avalanche was found. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to tune in again tomorrow for another brand new episode.